Hey guys, it's Doc, and today we're going to be doing the Bermuda grass calendar, and I figured I'd do it inside today because it's pretty cold out there. So I'm going to work with you from my office. We're going to go over the whole calendar. We're going to keep it as short as possible. So hold on one sec. Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing the Bermuda grass calendar for 2019. We have to constantly update this calendar because products change. So we've got to constantly update it. So before we start, of course, if you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button. Where is it? I always forget which side it's on, but click the subscribe button. And let me tell you why I want you to subscribe. Because as the year progresses, typically what I'll do is the things that I do on this calendar, I'm going to go out and I'm going to record them for you. In other words, I think I'm going to take over about 5 or 6 lawns this year and work with those lawns. They're trouble lawns. And so I actually will go out there and show you the results and showing myself actually doing the things to neighbors' lawns out here and work with them. So make sure you click that subscribe and it'll just show up when I make these new videos for you. So I'm going to dive right into the Bermuda grass calendar and where we're going to start. So if you go over to the website, howtowithdoc.com, on the front page, you're going to see a link right to the Bermuda grass calendar. You click on the Bermuda grass calendar, and there is lower down in it, there is a PDF version that you can print. You can hang up in the garage, you can hang it up wherever you want, but it's just sort of a wheel. And it just sort of is a trigger mechanism to say, hey, I need to go back to the website and look at the updated information and updated products to say, what am I supposed to be doing now? It's pretty simple. So let me give you the simplified version. The simplified version is we do pre-emergent twice a year. We do pre-emergent in the spring. We do pre-emergent in the fall. In the springtime, we really push our lawn hard with a lot of light applications of fertilizer. We use the super juice. In the summertime, we start to apply some of granular or organic fertilizer. And then all we do is we watch for a few things. We watch for bugs. We watch for fungus. We watch our watering. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. That's the calendar. But the calendar breaks it down and shows you the different products that we use and exactly how we do them and the methods. So let's start right now. Now the calendar is based for Georgia. And all you have to do is sort of spin that wheel and say, okay, my soil temperatures are a little bit different than they are in Georgia. So figure out where you are. Like if you're in Texas, it's going to be different. Or if you're in South Florida, it's going to be different. So you have to sort of spin that wheel and adjust it. Let's talk about this time of year. This time of year, it's late winter. It's coming up to early spring. This is the time where the only thing I'm really going to do right now is I'm going to look for my target date on pre-emergent. I just did a real extensive sort of breakdown on our pre-emergent program because there was a little confusion on it. We don't put pre-emergent down 4 times a year. We put pre-emergent down 2 times a year. But especially in the spring, I break my spring application up into 2 light coats of pre-emergent. The first coat I do, so if March 1st is the date where I'm supposed to put down my pre-emergent because soil temperatures are going to technically hit 52 degrees about March 1st, then what I need to do is before that, about 2 weeks before that, 2 or 3 weeks before that, I'm going to go out and I'm going to put a light coat of the Barricade DG out on my lawn. Why do I do it before that? Because on that detailed chart, I showed you that warm fronts can move up. Warm fronts can move up and you can have a week where your soil temperature raises way up close to 60 degrees, your crabgrass germinates, and all of a sudden you're battling weeds and crabgrasses because your pre-emergent wasn't already out. So I always go out, if I take my specific target date is March 1st, I'm going to go out and do a light coat 2 or 3 weeks before that. Everyone else is going to be putting it out here. And then about 2 or 3 weeks after that, I come back and do another light coat with a different product. And I use the Dimension. Why do I use 2 different products? Because they work differently. The Barricade actually lasts longer. It has less leaching in the soil versus the Dimension, but it takes longer to get in. It actually lasts a little bit longer, and it's a granular. I take the Dimension, and the Dimension works very fast. It's very soluble, gets into the ground fast, but it also has some post-emergent effects too. So pre-emergent stops, let's say it stops the seeds from germinating. The post-emergent kills any young weeds that have already sprouted, and it has a little bit of effect on young crabgrass. So if you are a little bit late and you did have some crabgrass germinate or some other weeds germinate, the Dimension can actually, you do a little bit of killing on that young crabgrass. So that's an important thing to note. It does not work on older crabgrass, established crabgrass, but on very young crabgrass, the Dimension can actually have post-emergent impacts. So that's why we do the pre-emergent. So here we are, probably about February 15th to February 20th. I'm going to put out my Barricade here in middle Georgia. Probably about March 15th, I'm going to come back with a light coated Dimension. And that's it. I'm done till I reach the fall, and I'll probably do one more treatment of Barricade, and it's going to be late fall, mainly focused on Poana, because that's the weed that I have to watch out for. I really have to watch out for Poana around here. All right, that's all we're going to do when it comes to late winter. Now we're moving into the early spring months. The early spring months on here, what we're going to do is we're not going to push our lawn too early, because you can have a late freeze come up. So what I like to do when it comes to the early spring is I'm definitely going to use the new Super Juice. The new Super Juice is a granular formula that you mix with water and you spray on your lawn. The reason why I'm going to solely use Super Juice for almost all of spring is because I can control how it goes out. And I did a big article on granulars versus sprays. I'm not anti-granular. I just prefer the spray because you are in total control. I may go out with a light coat of that and do it every week or every 2 weeks and push my lawn once the spring comes around. Get that grass to really grow, really thicken up, and that's pretty much it. That's my goal. My goal is to get my grass to come up early in the spring and get it nice and thick and healthy. After that, I can tone down the fertilizer as we move into the summer months. So I'm going to put down Super Juice. Once my grass starts to green up, I'm going to put light coats on there. If there's a huge amount of rain coming in, I'm going to wait. After the rain hits, I'll go out with the Super Juice, because Super Juice also, just so you understand, it just doesn't get absorbed by the roots. There's foliar absorption of these nutrients as well, and it's been proven through testing that within 1 to 4 hours, your grass can actually start to take up some of these nutrients when you do a foliar spray on it. So you get instant sort of results on it. That's why we love the Super Juice. So early spring and even into mid-spring, the only thing I'm going to be putting down is going to be Super Juice. As we move later and we start to get into late spring, early summer, where the temperatures rise and microbial action starts to happen in my lawn, then I'm going to come out and I'll do some organic fertilizer on top of that. Organic fertilizer really doesn't work well while you still have cold temperatures, because organic fertilizer has to be digested. Once it gets digested, then it releases the nutrients into the lawn. And if you don't have that good digestion going on, there's no reason to really put it out. So don't put out any organic fertilizers until the warm weather moves in. When are we going to scalp? We're going to scalp as soon as I scalp, probably earlier than everyone else. As soon as my lawn is pretty much 50 to 75% green, if I can see green 50 to 75%, I'm going to scalp it down. There's scalp videos on the website. I show you taking it down. I'm going to take it down as low as I can. Now remember, here's the brown grass that's standing, and if your brown grass is 2 or 3 inches, the green grass has to grow all the way up through that brown grass to be able to show. So that's why we scalp. We scalp it to remove the ugly, so that the green grass, because Bermuda likes to be short, the green grass, you want to see nothing but green. That's why we scalp. It really is mainly for appearance purposes. You want to take all that brown off and just have green grow. Depending on your lawn, every expert out there will tell you Bermuda grass likes to be between 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch and 3/4. That's where you like to cut it. I have to cut mine a little bit longer. Mine is 1.5 inches to 2 inches because I have such a crappy lawn out here. And I have not have it leveled. I may have my lawn leveled this year. I haven't thought about that. So we're going to scalp. I'll probably end up scalping probably late March, early April. I'll scalp off all that brown and then allow that green to come up, hit it with fertilizer, and I'll be all set. Now, will I aerate? I don't know if I'm going to aerate this year or not. And mainly because I put down a lot of humic acid last year and my soil looks really good. I may go ahead and aerate, but if you're going to aerate, you're going to aerate after you scalp, because that way the little aerator plug hole, the little aerator spikes don't have to travel through all that brown grass. You want to scalp and then come back and aerate. After you get that all done, then you're going to go ahead and spray the super juice. Again, there are videos and pages about scalping and aerating all on the website as well too. So now we're getting into April, May, sort of that warm springtime, and the only thing I'm going to be doing is, because I put out a lot of humic last year, humic acid, I don't have to put any out. If you don't have any humic acid, that's a good time to maybe put out some humic acid. Again, there's links on the website to soil improvements. You go to soil improvements, you see the humic acid. I do put out humic acid. I'll put it out probably one time this year, because I put it out 2 or 3 times last year. I don't need much more. So I'll put a humic acid out when we're in that April, May zone, and I'm going to hit it with super juice. I'm going to hit my lawn with super juice. I'm going to start off probably at full strength, and then I'm going to start to go down to the lower strengths as we go on. I can just monitor it. So if I want to go out every other week and hit my lawn with some super juice, I can do it. Here's the other thing nice about super juice. If I start to see some bugs, I can go out and I can mix my fertilizer with my insecticide. I can go out and mix my fertilizer with my pre-emergent. I can mix my fertilizer with fungicide. So you can do those, the same thing that golf courses do. They actually mix treatments. They mix fertilizers with other chemicals and they spray it out at the same time. You can do that with super juice, and that saves you a little extra step too. June, there are a couple things as you come up and get into the warm season. Number one, and you have to watch out for this in the spring too, is watch out for disease. I have a fungicide and link on the website that you can watch out for disease. There's a new product out that we'll be talking about too. But as we get into the warmer months, May and June, we're going to have to start to worry about diseases and funguses, and we're going to have to worry about bugs. That's pretty much all we're going to have to worry about. Now, I will warn you, this past year, a lot of people are having a lot of problem with armyworms, and that's the little moth you see flying when you go and spray. If you walk outside in the morning or late in the afternoon, you take a hose, spray your lawn, and if you start to see white moths or light brown moths fly out of your grass, you probably have armyworms. That's the easiest way to tell. They also, if you have rose bushes, they were attacking my rose bushes. They were just devastating them. So you need to treat your armyworms. Now, I did a whole page on armyworms because I freaked out last year because my lawn was just infested, and I learned that all my other neighbors were having a huge problem as well too. Texas is having a huge problem. So be on the lookout for armyworms. Your treatments for armyworms probably start somewhere in June. But I think I really hit them, the fall armyworms. I think it was like late August and September is when I was really battling them. I have those crazy moth videos I was doing. So just be on the lookout for that. Okay, now let's talk about the hot summer months. The hot summer months, this is why I like to spray fertilizer, is because I can regulate it. If I look at my forecast and I see it's going to be 96 degrees and there's going to be no rain, I don't want to put fertilizer on my lawn. Your lawn naturally will go semi-dormant, stop really growing, and you don't want to falsely, artificially push that growth with heavy fertilizers. So I can immediately shut down my fertilization program and control what I'm putting down. On the other hand, if I have a granular fertilizer out, I'm going to have to water my lawn a lot. And what happens every time I water my lawn if I have a granular fertilizer out? I'm going to be putting nitrogen and pushing that lawn during a time when it doesn't want to be pushed. So again, if I have extremely hot drought conditions fall upon me, I can shut down my fertilizer program and just put water on my lawn until we get a nice heavy rain system come on through. Then I can go out and fertilize. With granular, you can't do that. Every time you go out and water your lawn, you're pushing more nutrients into that lawn and pushing your lawn when you shouldn't be pushing it. So again, that's why it's that total control mentality that we like. We're not going to do a whole lot during the hot summer months. We're just going to sort of sit back, enjoy the pool. We've got all of our work done. We're going to watch for bugs, and we're going to watch for disease, and we're going to keep our grass. We're going to keep cutting our grass. I mean, it just depends how often. Most people say during the hot summer months, that July and August, let your lawn come up an extra ½ an inch. And I agree with that. Let your lawn come up just a little bit higher during those periods. It offers a little more shade to the roots, holds maybe a little more moisture in there. But don't let it come up real high. I see people too many times with 3-inch, 4-inch tall Bermuda grass, and it's just like ridiculous. Bermuda doesn't want to be that hot. Now, I will warn you, the standard watering procedure for Bermuda grass, or rule of thumb, is 1 inch of water per week. So if you haven't gotten an inch of rain, you need to put an inch of water on your lawn per week. For me, I do something that people say you shouldn't do. If I'm into a drought period, I actually set my sprinkler system to go off very frequently, sometimes almost every morning, for about 10 minutes per station. And why do I do that? It's because I have a lot of construction debris under my lawn. I've learned I've got rocks, I've got roots, I've got bricks, I've got all kinds of construction debris around under my lawn that I can't get up. And I know for a fact that the water is going to evaporate almost instantly. And so I have to constantly go out there during a drought and put water down. And I've learned, which you're not supposed to do because you sort of run the risk of more disease coming in. I go out there and I let my sprinkler system run for 10 minutes every morning, about 4 or 5 a.m. or every morning that I can legally water. Let it run every morning out there for about 10 minutes per station. That little bit of water keeps those. I have tons of these little burnout areas and construction debris areas, and that keeps those areas from burning out. But we're not going to do heavy fertilization. Again, keep an eye out for the fungicide, for need for a fungicide, and for bugs, and that's really all we're going to do. If there's any other problems like grubs or something like that, come back to the website and look for it. All right, let's talk about the fall. Now we're into the fall. When the weather starts to cool down a little bit, we get some rains, I put super juice, I go back to fertilizing, and I fertilize all the way up to the point, and I don't use a calendar as a rule, I use my temperature as a rule. Because so many people say do not fertilize after September 1st on Bermuda grass. Well, you know what? This year in November, it was hitting up into 70 degrees, and I had a beautiful green lawn. So you can use the super juice. You can put out light treatments all the way through that period. And once the lawn's getting ready to go dormant, that's when you shut off. So when you see cold weather starting to come into your lawn, stop fertilizing, shut off the thing. Again, total control with the super juice. It's a little bit different mindset because when people say don't fertilize after September 1st on Bermuda grass, they're thinking about a slow release granular that is going to sit there for 10 to 12 weeks and keep releasing product. Unlike the super juice, which you spray it on, the effects and impacts are going to last maybe 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. So it's a completely different boat. Again, I will spray super juice all the way up into October, September and October. As long as my lawn the weather is warm and the grass is growing, I'm going to be using super juice. I try and hold off on my pre-emergent in the fall until the last minute because I'm targeting, for me, the big problem I have is poana. So I don't want to, I wait almost until my lawn goes just about getting ready to go dormant. When that happens, that's when I'm going to put out my pre-emergent in the fall. I'm going to do one heavy treatment of it probably. And again, I'm going to wait till the cold weather moves in because that's when the poana, when that Bermuda grass starts to go dormant, that's when that poana is going to want to pop up and sprout. So for me, you target your own weeds. My problem, my issue is poana. So I put my pre-emergent out, October or November because I want it to last through the winter time. Don't forget about armyworms in the fall. Keep checking for armyworms. They're a pain in the butt this year. They're everywhere, so look out for armyworms as well too. Now let's talk wintertime. Is there anything to do in the wintertime? Not really. The only thing you need to do is if you walk around your yard and you start to see some weeds, just spot treat it with weed killer. That's all you really have to do. I really wouldn't even worry about putting down pre-emergent in the wintertime unless you missed a fall treatment. I just go out and if I spot treat weeds, I spot treat weeds. But again, I walked around my yard today. I almost have 0 weeds, zero weeds. And the entrance, I actually do the entrance to the subdivision, 0 weeds. It's funny because I have the entrance of the subdivision here, and then right next to it is a horrible lawn. The house just sold this year. The weeds were like 18 inches tall in this thing. And I can put up a picture and show you can see the line where you've got beautiful brown grass and then on the other side of it is actually a bunch of weeds. It's pretty interesting. It's just infested with weeds over here. And where I went and did my pre-emergent treatment, you can see that there's nothing. There's not a single weed on that because I went out and I did a good Barricade. I actually used Barricade on that. I put Barricade out on that entrance up there, and the other lawn has nothing on it. It's pretty cool. Okay, so here's a surprise for you. I'm gonna hop on my truck, and it's actually raining outside, and I'm gonna run up to the front subdivision in the rain, and I'm gonna show you the difference between pre-emergent treatment and non-pre-emergent treatment, because I keep driving by this every day and I say it's amazing, so I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so everyone doesn't think I'm crazy, I'm going to do this real quickly. See the difference? Pre-emergent, non-pre-emergent. Let me get up a little closer. See all the weeds over here? And look over here, nothing. So that's the difference. So that's pretty much, and then we go back into the late winter cycle. So that's the Bermuda grass calendar. Again, guys, make sure you subscribe. But what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to share this video and share the Bermuda grass calendar. If you have a HOA, make sure you share it with people in the neighborhood. Pass it along, because the majority of people just need a little bit of coaching under a simple program. They don't need a whole bunch of stuff, and they can do well. Again, cost-wise, if I hire a chemical lawn service, they're going to charge me, I had them come out and quote, and they charge me $95 per application. They're going to come out 8 to 10 times a year. That's about $800 a year I'd have to spend just for chemicals, basic chemical treatments from a lawn service company to come out and put it. And I'm spending less than that and putting out 3 times as much product and control on my lawn than they would put out, and doing a better job of it. I'm not against those companies. I'm just telling you, you can do it yourself. I don't want to say for less money, but for about the same amount of money or a little bit less, you can actually get better control of your lawn and have a better looking lawn. Guys, I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy this. If you like it, click the like button. If you hate it, click the hate button. I don't care either way. Click a like, share it. Talk to you later. Doc.